Welcome to Date Night. My name is Marquise.
And I'm Crystal, and let me just start by saying that we know that planning a date night can be complicated.
So complicated. That is so true.
I mean, it's complicated under normal circumstances, but then you add a pandemic into the mix, and that only makes things a little more challenging.
Yeah.
And we get it, so we want to help. We've planned this date night for you.
That's right, for you. You can watch this as you're out on the town, like us, or put the kids to bed early and enjoy it from home. The location doesn't really matter. What matters is that in the midst of this busyness of life, you're spending time together.
We love that. Together. And speaking of together, have you ever wished you can go on a double date with a couple who have a great marriage just to ask them a few questions like, what's your best marriage advice? Or how have you worked through some of the challenges in your relationship? Or maybe you're like us and you want to learn from a couple who are just a little bit further down the road in their marriage. We thought you might like that, so we've asked amazing couples in our church to share some of their stories and experiences with you tonight.
That's right. Tonight, our biggest goal for you is that you have fun and enjoy being together.
And we need to harp on that fun because that is
Yes.
so important. So let's get started. To kick us off, we're going to give you a chance to talk and maybe release some of the cares of the day. Before you hear from our couples, take 2 minutes and each of you answer the questions on the screen.
The first question, don't worry, it's an easy one, is this. Which song title best describes your day prior to this date night? Number 1, Happy.
Because I'm happy.
Okay, number 2,
You know mine.
Roll in the Deep. You don't know that one. Number 3, Can't Stop the Feeling. Or number 4, Shake It Off.
All right, your table's ready. Follow me.
Awesome, thank you so much.
We are Chris and Jan Woodruff, and we have been married for over 20 years now, so we celebrated 20 last year in 2020.
We're the Joes.
Yes.
Been married for 15?
15 years, 15
I got it
years.
right, thankfully.
Yep.
And we have 3 kids. We're a blended family.
Hey, my name is Alan. This is Debbie. We've been married since 1989. That is 32 lovely years of marriage. And as you hear all the time, there's been about, how many good ones? Oh yeah, all 32, all 32.
3 kids.
We've got 2 boys and a girl. We've got an 18-year-old today, a 16-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
I've got the 22-year-old from my first marriage. And then Amir and I have Madison and Avery, boy and a girl.
Yeah, 14 years old and 12 years old.
So we got married when we were young. I was 21, she was 20. And so we had 4 kids, and then we have 2 grandkids as well, which is awesome. They are amazing.
We met on a mission trip. Each of us were, even though we didn't talk about it, we were digging on each other leading up to the trip. And then at the end of the trip is when we had the conversation and said, hey, I've been digging on you. I really like you.
So we met in college and dated for a while, and then broke up and then got back together, like, what was it, 10, 20 years later?
It was 10 years.
Yeah.
When we broke up. We broke up for 10 years and then got back together and got married. Yeah.
We went really quick to boyfriend, girlfriend. I love you, you love me, let's get married. And a lot of people are like, well, weren't you supposed to hang out first for a little while? I'm like, yeah, I think we're good.
This shows you how much I've really liked him, because our very first date, he took me on an airplane during one of his, he was getting his pilot's license. And they allowed me, which I have no idea now that I look back, why they would let me get on that airplane, but it was a little Cessna airplane, and he was flying it, and I was in the back, and terrified.
Wow, rediscovering each other. It was really great. You know, at first, like, people were like, are you serious? Like, they just, like, their advice was like, you don't go back, you go forward. And I'm like, well, you do you and we'll do us. We explored it, and it was really a lot of fun, because he wasn't the same Wayne back in college. He was a much mature Wayne, and it was so different from who he was before. And this new Wayne was just so attractive. I was like, I am like all about that. And so, it was great. It was great to get to know each other again.
Yeah. It felt easy. It felt natural. For me, it was just, rediscovering a long lost friend. So we just kind of picked up the friendship and kept going from there.
What made him very different was that he led me very well. There was so much ambiguity when I dated other people, or even pursued other people or pursued me. And he was forthright. What he said he was going to do. I never worried about whether the next steps would happen, because he was very consistent.
I just felt so comfortable with her because I could tell her things and stuff like that. We were babysitting one night together. She was babysitting. I went to go over to the house. And once kids got down to sleep, we were just kind of talking and chatting. We walked outside, and then something changed. So, yeah, I know. So I kissed her for the first time.
It was like I had just refound my best friend. And it was just like being able to talk the depth of our relationship. I mean, it was just being able to talk about all these things, all these people, what we've been up to, what was, our mistakes and things like that. And just being transparent and real with one another.
I didn't have a huge dating past at all. I mean, I dated people, but never, all 4 seasons, if you will. And for me, Valentine's Day was always just such a big hyped up thing, and so you were always let down or disappointed if you were single or whatever. And Chris had, I had a roommate, so he had gotten into my home, and prior to me coming home, he didn't break in, but he had gotten there, and I had no idea. I knew we were going to connect that night, but he had parked his car somewhere else. So when I walked in, the whole house was decorated with Valentine stuff. Table was set, flowers, and he had made pizza, and he had done a heart-shaped pizza and literally cut out the pepperonis in heart shapes.
You want me to take that one?
Yes,
we wanted to do something special for our guests at the wedding, so we actually took some formal waltz dance lessons. We picked Luther Vandross,
So amazing.
So Amazing, and we love the song. And I think we caught everyone off guard. I mean, they didn't know what was going on, but the song came on, and we stood up, and we stepped in the middle of the floor and stood still for about what felt like an hour. And then we started doing our little bops up and down, and it was a perfect little square path that they had us map out in dance class. And we just did all our moves in that, and it was a lot of fun.
So cute in here. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, welcome in.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Man, I am starving.
How are you?
Naturally, I'm gonna start with some cake, okay? You probably see by now why we wanted you to get to know these couples.
Yes, absolutely. I want to go on a double date with each of them because
All
they
of them.
all seem so awesome.
That's right.
Isn't there something about pausing to remember the beginning of our story that brings up all these great memories? I mean, just think about it for a second. No matter where you are today, there was a season where your story began, when your us first started.
The us.
I like
Love
that.
that. We want to give you a chance to remember when your us first began. Take a couple of minutes on your own to share a memorable date from early on in your relationship.
And for bonus points, share what first caught your eye. What's one thing you first noticed about your spouse early on in your relationship?
That's right, boo. You would need more than 2 minutes to talk about what caught your eye about me.
Excuse
all
me,
right.
no,
That's
I think
all right.
you would need more
That's all
than
right.
2 minutes, but I'll leave you with this. You caught my eye from the very moment that I met you.
Well,
and I still feel that way.
Thank you. I
Well,
take
listen,
it.
as we are figuring this out right here, we'll see you guys in a few.
Yeah, what the obstacles for us in prioritizing date night right now is probably the pandemic. I know it sounds like a cop-out because you blame the pandemic on everything, but it definitely just changed our routine. I mean, we went to movies a lot. As soon as the new movie hit the streets, we were, having dinner and then watching a movie. So not being able to go out on Friday nights or on the weekends has been a challenge for us. So trying to be creative now around, how do we, find time together.
What has been really challenging for us in this season is Al and I are both very hard-working people. We have a strong work ethic. It's something we got from our families. And so we would work all the time if it were left up to us. So we would work and work and work, and everything else could get sacrificed if we're not careful.
Well, if I'm really honest, so our kids being teenagers, I've loved it. Not that COVID's great. It's not. There's a lot, especially for an extrovert. It's debilitating. But as a family, to have my teenagers with me more often than not has been great. I mean, we as a family have done a lot over the years together, so it wasn't such an awkward transition in the sense of us spending that much time together.
The movie nights on the couch, the games, the badminton in the yard, the walks in the neighborhood. It's been so great. It's been great for us, the binging on the movies that we love on Netflix.
Eating on our front yard, just stuff like that we wouldn't normally do. So for me, that was positive. It definitely is hard.
She set a boundary for us pretty early in our marriage when we started getting this way with the past couple of years of, hey, since we both work at a place where we don't have to work on Fridays, she said, hey, Friday is our day. And so I was like, okay. So like, even as I get busy or she gets busy with work and I say, hey, can I make an appointment on this Friday? She goes, Friday's our day, you know, and I'm like, ah. So we've guarded Fridays. And the hard thing for me as a planner is I'm like, okay, what are we doing for Fridays?
We unfortunately had a death in our family, and it was pretty traumatic for me, for my kids, for my parents, and but the thing about it is that, you know, having Wayne and other family and friends just, you know, around really helped during a difficult time. And it still hurts, to be honest. It's still difficult to think about. I still get sad, and that's okay. And it's totally okay.
If quarantine had happened when my kids were young, I don't even know how I would survive. I have so much respect for parents of young kids right now. I don't know how they're doing virtual learning and doing their job. I have a tremendous amount of appreciation and respect because I could barely survive with my 4 kids. And while we were in quarantine, we did have our 2 grandchildren living with us. My son and his wife were building their house. And so we got a little bit of a feel for what that's like. And it is 24/7. I mean, you are on all the time.
We had someone who spoke into us when we were young newlyweds that was talking about how important it was to do date nights, quarterly getaways, and at least 1 vacation a year. And Chris had taken that completely to heart. Literally, I had a 10-week-old baby, my first baby, who, in 10 weeks, he's like, hey, my mom's coming. We're going for an overnight. We're gonna go get dinner. And I was like, okay, how does that work? And yet we did that, and it was the best because I had like 12 hours of sleep. My baby didn't, you know, our baby didn't know that we were gone. And so it set a great pattern, if you will, for us to follow. And I highly, highly recommend that to any young couple, that you start that early and you make it a non-negotiable. It becomes a pattern of your life.
Alone time is so important for us. So what we do is when the kids go to bed, that's when Wendy and I get to, you know, watch our movies together or talk, or we'll spend a little time reading and things like that, and talking about what we're reading or our day and things like that. So I would say nighttime is really where we really get to engage, but we also try to steal time away whenever we can. You know, the kids are involved in different activities, like horseback riding for my daughter just never stopped during the pandemic. And so like when they have different things going on, we're able to steal time away and spend time together. And that's been really, really great, just being flexible.
Yeah. And I mean, and of course, we're both working from home, so it's easy to say, hey, what time are you going to take lunch today? And let's do lunch together. And then let's go walk the dog again.
We got on each other's nerves.
Quickly.
Really easily. We still can. I mean, it's not perfect. But yeah, we start to not give each other the benefit of the doubt. We start questioning their motives in what they're doing or saying.
And also you start checking your heart, like, do you want to spend time with them? So I remember there's a time where, you know, it was a date night, and I was like, man, I don't know.
You didn't want to spend time with me.
I know. So you gotta see, that's a big red light.
Yeah.
You know, if you see like, hey, it's our night to spend together, and you're not excited about it, then I'd be like, you know, you gotta start doing some soul checking then.
I'm a counselor, so I'm naturally going to see that in our marriage when we're getting too far out of the guidelines, but most people don't have that as their background. So I would say when you start to get stuck, make sure you go get some help. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you as a person. In fact, if anything, it means you have a healthy marriage. Most of my friends have a marriage counselor. That's a very healthy thing.
And by bringing someone in, it's now not on you to fix it. It's you have someone else in that conversation that's asking the questions, and they're asking it of you and them. And so yeah, it takes some of that stress off, and you just have to come willing to talk. But what we've looked at is what are things we can do for the folks in our lives that serves them. And so if it's notes of encouragement that we're reaching out to folks, or we went through this whole phase of baking and cooking and taking them
We would
to
just
all the
surprise
different
people
families
and
and
take
surprising
different stuff
people.
to them.
We've got one family that we're really connected to that we've been supporting, and we just have been helping them out a ton with meals. And so just different ways that we've just been trying to think through how do we do that in a way that we're not necessarily spending time with them, we're dropping it off and leaving it on the doorstep for them, so we're not coming in a lot of contact with them.
Right.
But we've just tried to think, how do we get really creative with how do we still serve people when we can't do it in our home or in different places.
I think the pandemic has helped to make it very specific what you can do, right? And oftentimes we feel where we're chained and what we can't do. It makes you super specific on what the needs are. Like there are needs that pop up all the time that we often are too busy to recognize because we're looking at the big things that we want to do. And so I have loved that we have been able to really find some key areas that really make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Looks so good.
Oh, I cannot wait.
And you can't have any of mine.
Okay.
Didn't you love getting to know all those couples? There's so much wisdom being dropped left and right as I listen to them reflect on what they've learned and what they continue to learn in their relationship.
Exactly. And speaking of reflecting, you may have heard of Dr. John Gottman, who is a marriage expert and author. He says that focusing on positive memories is a key factor in happy, lasting marriages. Dr. Gottman found that happy couples form what he calls a positive sentiment override. Because in his research, successful couples choose to see the positive instead of the negative. They give each other the benefit of the doubt. They perceive each other's actions as positive when a choice can be made between positive and negative. And they look back with fondness and admiration.
I love that so much. And we want to give you the chance to put this into practice, to look back over this past year through the lens of fondness and admiration. We want you to take 2 minutes to list all the things that you've overcome together in the last 12 months. It could be as simple as reorganizing the garage together, throwing out old clothes that you don't need, or it can be that you survived homeschooling the kids.
That's right, which is a feat in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Then we want you to practice admiration. We'll give you another 2 minutes to share one specific piece of encouragement to your spouse. Maybe some way that you've seen your spouse shine this past year in the middle of a challenging season. It could be something you've appreciated about your spouse. So have fun, encourage each other, and we'll see you in a few.
Absolutely. And we're going to go ahead and dig in because this is important. We're hungry, and we'll catch you at dessert.
2021 is going to be a busy year for us. We just have a lot going on in our family. Daughter graduating from 8th grade, going to high school. That's a huge step, for me as a mom, and I think for her as well. And just transitioning, we're moving as well, so that has all the complexities as well. And so, and then we're hoping to get back to some type of normalcy, with our life and being able to get out and do things. So I'm looking forward to just enjoying each other in an outwardly stance, going out, traveling. We had all these big plans before, but I'm really looking forward to executing this year.
Yeah, and just continuing, it's easy to say, hey, the pandemic is over, or it's getting over, it's gonna be over, let's go back and just do all this stuff out of the house. But we enjoyed a lot of the things that we started doing. We created new routines, walking every night, or walking after every meal, making sure that we were, playing more games as a family. So I would say, as much as I'm looking forward to getting back to being relational with folks outside of the home, I equally want to make sure I maintain the sense of relational activities that we've started.
So number one, you need to find some time to sleep naked.
I knew he would pull it out. I knew he would pull it out.
No, seriously. You need to find some time to sleep naked. Now, this is how we do that, though, because you're living in a house of kids.
Right.
So Jan referenced this earlier, but for us, one of the best pieces of advice we got was quarterly getaways, and so we stuck to that.
My favorite piece of advice is to not look to your spouse to meet your needs. Jerry Maguire was one of my favorite movies. Your spouse does not complete you. I don't care which way you slice it. Your spouse does not complete you. And if you go into marriage with that thought in mind, that your spouse is going to complete you, you're going to be very disappointed. And I think my favorite piece of advice would be, look to God to meet your needs, and then He might choose to use your spouse to meet your needs, and then it's a bonus. But when I look to Him to meet them, I'm going to be disappointed because I can't do it anyway. And He can't do it for me either unless God is the one doing it through Him. So that changed our lives, because in the beginning, that's what I was always trying to do, was be complete by having Him meet all of my needs. Telling Him all the time what my love language was, because it wasn't getting met. Not looking at, what's your love language? How can I help with that? How can God use me to meet a need for you,
And because I was a people pleaser, I would try to meet her needs. Try to.
Did it better than anybody could have done it.
Well, thanks. But I think it just gets a point where it's tiring, and then you do realize, I can't do this. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you try to be a great husband or a great wife, there's gonna be a point where you just can't try. So I'm not saying don't try. I'm just saying the goal is not to try to meet the needs. You can try to be a great husband, but don't hold the expectations so high that if you don't reach it, you feel like you failed,
I mean, I think it makes me think about trying to change someone. Like, don't try and change your spouse, and just be the best self you can be, and surrender and give the rest to God, and let Him work on that individual's heart, your spouse's heart, because when you try to manipulate, it just causes more friction in your marriage. And just staying true to who you are is really what you should do, and be prayerful.
I think the important thing I'd say is just, one, I think getting outside people to speak into you, and just seeing that some things that we felt like in our early part of marriage was just so much of a struggle, and we got so frustrated with, and you're like, oh, everybody struggles with that. It's normal. Mm-hmm. So I think normalizing some of the things that you feel like are individual to you, but that happens from getting outside people to come in and speak into your life. Mm-hmm. And so I'd say, don't try to do this alone, do it together. It's a journey, I heard this quote, you'll go faster alone, but you'll go farther together. So just make sure that you're doing it together.
One of the things that I learned, or I had to realize when we got into conflict, is to not think of Amira as the enemy, right? Because it's so easy when you're arguing to think of, that's the foe, that's the person I'm competing with, and I want to get her over to my side. I want to get her to think the way I do, and I'm right. but she's not the enemy, all right? We got married for a reason. I mean, we love each other. We have our best interest at heart. We may not be getting along at this specific time, but she's not the enemy.
This came for us in this season is the I love you, but I don't like you right now. And so that was a lot of conversations in that season was, I love you. I love you. I'm not going anywhere.
That's right.
I don't like you today. And it was probably more from Jan saying that
That's not true.
than me. But that's what got us through the rubs is we always came back to the commitment of, I love you.
Yeah.
We're not nothing's changing here.
Right.
This is happening. We're gonna make it through this.
So, finishing well together for me is part of that fantasy. You know, that one personality that everything's perfect. So we've got our little camper where we're going for little trips. We're spending all this kind of time together because I'm quality time. I mean, some of this is funny, but some of it I really hope for our future. Spending time with our family is a really big thing for both of us. So raising grandchildren together, helping our kids as much as we can help them succeed in marriage and in life.
We love adventure. We love activity. But gosh, our picture of just finishing well is we are just active and fun and hanging out with our kids. We're traveling with our kids.
You know, I think talking to grandkids about Wayne, I want to share that he was the first male that modeled what did it really look like to love Christ outwardly. Even though I've been in the church since I was a child, but I've never seen a man really model it well for me. And so that's what I would share with my grandkids.
So if I'm honest, what I would tell my future grandchildren about my spouse is how annoying it was that my children, all 4 of them, and my grandchildren, adore him more than they adore me. Because he's more fun, he will play with them all the time. I'll do a tea party for 10 minutes and be like, am I done yet? Like, can I stop doing this so I can do something else? But he actually really enjoys that. Like, he enjoys it from start to finish for hours, would do that with our kids.
Play.
And with our grandkids.
But I'm definitely going to tell my grandkids about the kind heart that their grandmother has. The joy in her spirit that she just brings to life. And these are not going to be surprises to them. They're going to see it. They're going to know it. The encouragement that comes from just her thoughtfulness.
That's sweet.
Those are the things.
We didn't plan this. For me, I want our kids to know the benefit of a lifelong marriage. A marriage requires a lot of hard work. And, but there's such a huge benefit. And hopefully they see the intentionality that we put into our marriage is God honoring. And that it also just spreads out. Not just internally for our family, but hopefully our marriage has been a blessing for others. Is that good?
Yeah. It really is. It's so easy for all of us to get caught up in the daily activities of life and miss things in the process. In marriage, it can also be easy for us to miss each other, to just go through the motions of our day to day. If I were to ask you what you thought God wanted for your marriage, what would you say? Think about this. God designed marriage. He created it. And one of the reasons for him creating marriage was enjoyment. He wants you to enjoy doing life together.
Yeah, and maybe you're in a season where life has been hard. And listen, we get it.
Yeah.
It's been a tough season. Or maybe you're in a season where marriage has been hard and it's been a long time since you genuinely enjoyed life together. Here's what we want you to know. Enjoying your relationship with each other is possible,
Yes.
right?
That's right.
With God, all things are possible. We just have to take a step towards Him. Ask God to give you the strength you need. Ask Him for wisdom, ask Him for help, and then take a step towards your spouse. It could be just a small step, one step at a time. And if marriage has been going really good for you, then keep stepping towards each other and stay in step with each other.
That's right. And one practical way you can stay in step with each other is by prioritizing a date night, just like you had tonight. So, before we leave you guys to finish your date night on your own, we have one last challenge for you, and it's an easy one,
Yes,
okay?
we promise.
Plan your next date night right now.
Right
Don't
now.
wait. Do it now. Tonight, you hopefully had fun. We hope you laughed together. So pull out your calendars and pick a date for your next date night.
And just to make things a little more interesting, play a quick game of rock, paper, scissors to decide who gets to plan the next date night. The winner plans the next date night, and the other person can send a reminder 1 week out from your next date night.
That's right.
Marquise, you want to give it a try?
We can try it. Let's see what happens.
Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
Yes, he's planning our next date night.
That's right. Looks like I'm planning our next date night. Enjoy your night, guys. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely.